We are diving deep today into, well, one of the most persistent fan theories out there, really. The idea that the Joker is actually the hero of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Wait, think about it. We've always just accepted that he's pure chaos, right? An agent of anarchy. But if you actually, step back and look at the results, what if all his horrific actions were the only way to cut the cancer out of Gotham? It just reframes everything.
It does.
Batman is no longer this perfect savior. He's almost a liability. His methods just weren't enough anymore.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive. We're looking at all the sources from popular fan theories to, believe it or not, analyses using actual game theory.
Wow.
And we're going to see if, based purely on the outcome, the Joker actually made Gotham a safer place.
Yeah.
Despite his, monstrous intentions.
Okay, so we have to set the stage. What was Gotham like right before he showed up? The sources we have, they paint a pretty bleak picture.
Oh, it's a disaster. It's not just street crime. It's systemic. Organized crime is basically a shadow government with huge financial power.
And corruption is everywhere. Top officials, whole sections of the city just written off.
Exactly. The key word is decay. I mean, Batman and Gordon, they were fighting, but they were just treating symptoms. The actual disease was this institutional rot.
The city was so broken, it was relying on a vigilante, a guy in a mask operating outside the law.
Right, which is completely unsustainable.
Okay, so let's get into the main argument of the theory. By the time the credits roll on that movie, almost all the big mob bosses are gone.
Neutralized or dead, yeah.
Corrupt officials are out. And the city gets 8 years of peace. 8 full years. If you're judging by results, that's staggering.
It really is. And the fascinating part is how he does it. He has that famous line, "I'm a dog chasing cars."
I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one.
But the analysis we looked at, it shows he is absolutely the man with the plan. Every single act, no matter how horrific, it has a clear strategic goal.
Which is the total destruction of Gotham's power structure.
Precisely.
And you see that strategic mind in his very first scene, the bank robbery. It's not just any bank.
No, it's a mob bank. It's their laundry.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear on this. The goal was never the cash. It was the system.
Right. He gets his own crew to kill each other off.
Which is a brilliant, if horrifying, zero-sum game. It thins the herd, sure, but the real target was Lau, the mob's accountant, their financial weak point.
Why Lau specifically, though? Couldn't Batman have just found him eventually?
Well, Lau represents the old kind of corrupt, he's a weasel, no principles, he's still at anyone. The Joker hates that type of villain.
But by getting Lau, he gets all their money.
And then he does the unthinkable. He doesn't just steal the money, he burns it, with Lau on top of the pile.
He didn't just hurt them, he bankrupted them. He completely shattered their ability to operate. A declaration that money has no power here.
That's it. That one act was more devastating than anything Batman could do. Gordon could indict them, but the Joker destroyed their liquidity. He dismantled the whole thing from the inside.
So, with organized crime basically wiped out, the theory says Joker moves to his second major target, which is the vigilante problem. Hold on, the Joker saw Batman as the problem, the guy trying to save the city. How does that work?
Because Batman, for all his morals, is an anomaly. The Joker's view is that a society can't function when its main source of order is just one man taking justice into his own hands.
So Batman's very existence was actually creating instability.
In the Joker's eyes, yes. It normalized vigilantism, which let the real corruption continue to hide behind a cape.
So now the Dark Knight himself is an obstacle to long-term stability.
Exactly. And the Joker knew just killing him wouldn't work.
Right, that would just create a martyr. The symbol lives on.
So the goal had to be more complex. Break him psychologically, force him to break his one rule and become a criminal in the eyes of the public.
And this is where Harvey Dent comes in. The sources we looked at break this down as a masterstroke of manipulation.
It's a double strike, designed for maximum trauma. He gives Batman the wrong address on purpose.
Ensuring he saves Dent, not Rachel Dawes.
Rachel's death is the personal blow to Bruce Wayne. But saving Dent, that's the real strategic move. It's how you flip the city's white knight.
So the Joker wasn't just trying to kill Dent, he was trying to push him over the edge.
He was trying to prove his main point, that anyone, even the best of us, is just one bad day away from being like him.
And the result is, it's just devastating. Dent, the symbol of hope, becomes Two-Face, a murderer.
And now Gotham's lost its legitimate hero. So Batman has to make a choice. He takes the fall for Dent's crimes. He preserves the lie to give the city hope.
So the Joker gets exactly what he wants. He forces Batman to become the villain, which means the vigilante problem solves itself. Batman has to disappear for 8 years.
But a dark, twisted kind of social engineering. He was the catalyst that forced Gotham to transition away from a symbol of fear and toward a legitimate judicial system with the Dent Act. The chaos served a purpose.
But how did he pull all this off if he was just an agent of chaos? This is where we need to get into the strategy. Our sources point directly to game theory.
Yeah, game theory. It's the study of strategic decision-making. Think John Nash, The Prisoner's Dilemma. The Joker's games aren't random at all. They're calculated experiments designed to prove his hypothesis about humanity.
The bank robbery is a perfect example. The sources call it a pirate game, a version of The Prisoner's Dilemma. Can you boil that down for us?
In simple terms, it's a test of treachery. The whole plan only works if he assumes his accomplices are greedy and will betray each other for a bigger slice of the pie.
And they prove him right every time. They eliminate each other, leaving him as the last one standing.
Exactly. The game was rigged, but only because he correctly predicted they would all act out of pure, amoral self-interest. You see the same logic when he meets the mob bosses.
The moment where he tells them they have to hire him immediately or they lose everything to Batman.
One source calls that the shrinking pie game. Picture an ice cream pie melting in the sun. He's telling them, you can wait, you can fight, but the pie, your money, your power, is melting away every second you hesitate.
It forces them into an immediate panic decision based on pure self-preservation.
Right. They choose the short-term fix, working with him instead of the more rational long-term play. It just shows his actions aren't chaos. They are profoundly strategic. He is betting on the absolute worst version of human nature.
He believes altruism is a complete myth. It's all there in his quote, "I'm not a monster, I'm just ahead of the curve."
And that chilling line, when the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
Which brings us to the final ultimate test of that worldview.
The ferry scene.
The climax of the whole film. 2 boats, civilians on one, prisoners on the other. Each has a detonator to blow up the other boat and save themselves. When you look back at it, what was the real game there?
It was the ultimate test of his philosophy against Batman's. On paper, logically, self-interest should win. Both groups had a clear incentive to kill the other to survive. He was trying to prove that civilization is just a thin veneer.
But his game didn't account for things like conscience or even just distrust. The choice was more psychologically complex than just simple survival.
That's right. And the civilians, they argue they're terrified, but they can't do it. But the real moment, the most important one, is on the prisoner's boat. When that huge inmate takes the detonator and just throws it out the window.
An act of defiant altruism.
From the people society had already written off as monsters.
And this is the mind-blowing part. The Joker is proven definitively wrong. Neither boat blows up the other. Selflessness exists in Gotham.
You can see it on his face in the film. The analysis confirms it. He's genuinely shocked. He's disappointed when the timer runs out. He just cannot comprehend that outcome.
And yet, right after his experiment fails, he pulls out his own detonator to blow them both up anyway.
And that ambiguity is so important to the theory. Because while he failed to prove humanity was evil, his failure prompted this collective act of hope from the city.
So a positive result came from his negative intent. The chaos forced Gotham to prove its own goodness.
Right. So you're left with this massive systemic cleanout, years of peace, organized crime gone, and a stable justice system. Sounds pretty good on paper. But we have to talk about the counter-arguments.
The moral argument.
We have to remember the victims. The Joker was a terrorist. He killed innocent people. Rachel Dawes, Judge Cirillo, police officers. His goal was anarchy, not justice. And you have to remember, Batman and Dent were already winning.
You're saying the mob was already on the ropes?
They were terrified. Dent was handing down massive indictments. They had a clean shot to end organized crime the right way, and the Joker, you could argue, ruined it. He derailed a legitimate investigation and forced Batman to become a fugitive.
So he achieved a clean city, but through the absolute worst means possible. He destroyed the righteous path to get there.
That's the counterargument, precisely. And it really boils down to intent versus outcome.
And that's what this whole deep dive comes down to, really.
If a hero is judged only with the outcome, a peaceful city, no organized crime, a functional legal system, then the fan theory says the Joker was the terrible medicine Gotham needed.
But if a hero is judged by their intent, by a moral code that says you do not kill,
then Batman is still the hero, even if his greatest victory forced him into exile.
It's hard to argue with the results, though. The Joker's methods, as monstrous as they were, achieved a total reset that years of traditional crime fighting just couldn't.
And that reset led to peace. A peace that allowed Bruce Wayne to retire for 8 years. You have to think about that story Alfred tells, about the bandit in the jungle.
Burning down the whole forest to catch one thief.
Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. It's the ultimate justification for extreme measures. The Joker, in that terrifying light, was the controlled burn that stopped an inferno.
That is a profound and very tough pill to swallow. The idea that the most destructive force was also the most effective catalyst for change.
Indeed. So the question for you listening to this is, where do you land? Do you value the 8 years of peace and order that followed, or do you condemn the chaos and murder it took to get there?
So, Team Joker or Team Batman? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.